Welcome to the Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal installation video. You've made a great choice. The Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal collection with waterproof core provides a beautiful, healthy, easy-to-clean floor that is kid-proof, pet-proof, and waterproof. Available in a variety of colors and two versatile formats, 12 by 12-inch squares and 12 by 36-inch planks, Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal easily mixes and matches, allowing your imagination to soar with design possibilities. Installing Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal is quick and easy, and you don't need any messy adhesives or careful timing. Let's start with the tools and supplies you'll need. A tape measure, 3/8-inch spacers, which you can make from flooring panel scraps, a pencil, a straight back handsaw, a keyhole saw or jigsaw, and angle or adjustable bevel, and underlayment with moisture protection, which you'll need only if you're installing CinchLoc over concrete subfloors or subfloors with underfloor heating. All Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal panels and squares should be inspected for manufacturing defects and damage prior to installation. Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal can be installed on any clean, dry, structurally sound subfloor. The subfloor must be flat to within 3/32 inch in 6 foot or 2 mm in 2 meters. The Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal cartons should be stored flat and unopened for approximately 2 to 3 days prior to installation in the center of the room in which they are to be installed. In the winter months, you should store the cartons for approximately 6 days prior to installation. For concrete subfloors, internal relative humidity should not exceed 75%, tested in accordance with the latest version of ASTM F2170. Moisture vapor emissions must not exceed 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet in 24 hours, tested in accordance with the latest version of ASTM F1869. The ambient room temperature should be at least 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius, and the ambient relative humidity between 50 and 60%. All concrete subfloors and subfloors with underfloor heating require an underlayment to be placed under the CinchLoc product as a vapor barrier. When using underfloor heating, Forbo only recommends installing Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal over systems that are heated by water. Before we get started, it's important to know that when the time comes to place your squares and panels up to the walls, you'll need to ensure an expansion gap of 3/8 inch or 9.8 millimeters is in place around the entire room between the flooring and the walls. You can create spacers to place between the wall and squares or panels by cutting small pieces out of a spare or scrap piece of a CinchLoc Seal. First, you need to install the underlayment, which provides limited moisture protection. The underlayment shown in this video is sold by Forbo. You can use other manufacturers' underlayment, but if so, you must follow the manufacturer's instructions. Roll out the underlayment and cut it to fit your substrate's requirements. The underlayment is not glued, and you don't need adhesive of any sort. Simply cut the material to size and leave it in position on the floor substrate. It'll move around as you work, but that's expected. Make sure the underlayment is properly positioned when you're setting the tile panels in their final positions. Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal is installed by connecting 2 panels together at a time at a 45-degree angle, placing the tongue into the groove in each panel or square. You can practice by joining some squares and panels together away from the starting point. And don't worry if the panels you put together at first are not necessarily in the final position for the panels at this beginning stage. It's fine to work with them in a free-floating mode on the floor in order to get comfortable working with them. Lay out several pieces with the groove side facing right. When installing Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal panels, the joints of these pieces must be staggered at a minimum of 12 inches. It may be necessary to cut the first piece of the row to create this stagger. This same stagger can be created by mixing both panels and squares throughout the installation. Marmoleum CinchLoc Seal squares can be installed with all 4 corners touching or in a checkerboard pattern. To ensure that all pieces are clicked together at exact 90-degree angles, install a temporary piece along the front wall, parallel with the material. Click the tongue of the first piece into the groove of the temporary piece, with the temporary piece partway into the first piece. After you get comfortable working with the tongue and groove system, choose a starting point against one of the walls. We recommend that you start with a straight wall and create a 3/8 inch or 9.8 millimeter gap wherever the CinchLoc material comes up to a wall or immovable object in the floor. Next, move your connected free-floating squares and panels section into position in the starting location you've chosen. It's as simple as pushing the assembled panels and squares into place against the spacer pieces. In this case, we're installing CinchLoc with a rubber base in place and over an existing floor, which may not be the case in all installations. Continue placing new panels by tilting them at a 45-degree angle and clicking them into the panels previously placed until you've covered the area you intended to cover. It's important to ensure that the pieces are perfectly aligned with one another. Any variation in alignment from piece to piece can create gaps between one row and the next. When you approach the far wall from where you started, measure the distance from the edge of the last piece to the wall. Subtract 3/8 inch and cut the final piece to fit. Be sure to cut the piece so that the cut edge will be facing the final wall when it's installed. Once the installation has been completed, transitions, trim, or moldings can be applied to cover the expansion gaps. And be sure to remove any dirt or debris from the surface by dry mopping the entire floor. Please visit forboflooringna.com for full maintenance guidelines for Marmoleum CinchLoc seal. And now a quick note about a dynamic called ambering. Ambering is the development of a slight yellow hue that sometimes occurs with Marmoleum when it's first removed from its packaging. Ambering is a natural, expected, and temporary condition caused by the linseed oil in Marmoleum. As time passes, as Marmoleum is exposed to light, the ambering will dissipate. Thank you for watching this video on installing Marmoleum CinchLoc seal. We hope you found it useful. You can find more information about Marmoleum CinchLoc seal at www.forboflooringna.com. Thank you.